Belter passes. Lou Williams for the win. Bingo!
Oh my goodness.
By Landry, Ariza drop down. Kobe! Oh! Up high! Down hard! Kobe Bryant!
They do have a timeout. Decide not to use it. Curry, way downtown. Bang! Bang! Oh, what a shot from Curry!
Kawhi aggressive to the right.
What's going on, guys? Welcome to another post-game live here on Dime Dropper for the 2024-25 NBA season. Before we get started, you already know the drill. Make sure you are subscribed on YouTube to Dime Dropper for all things LA sports and, of course, LA basketball and Clippers. By the way, congratulations to UCLA beating LSU, getting revenge. My dad and my sister's alma mater. After last year, the LSU was talking so much shit. But anyway, we're going to be talking about the Clippers' recent form today, Clippers, Cavs, and Clippers, Knicks, and Nets. Because I did that last video where I just basically talked about like all the games that I didn't talk about on Dime Dropper, but that the Clippers played. So I'm still trying to, talk about every game to some degree. So we're going to be talking about the game that happened this morning. And then we'll also be talking about the two games in New York because we got to talk about the way Kawhi played in those. So in this game, we did not have Kawhi. By the way, Super Chats are turned on if you want to drop a dollar a dime. Any donations appreciated. Make sure you're subscribed if you are not subscribed. If you like and the NBA or basketball and, of course, Lakers or Clippers especially, definitely got to subscribe. But, yeah, shout out to everybody in the chat. Anyway, Clippers, Cavs, no Kawhi. We're going to play against Orlando tomorrow, so you already know it's about to be a back-to-back. He's not going to play one of those games. I honestly agree with the decision to not play him in this game against Cleveland. But the thing is, tomorrow, he might be fresh as a daisy. But James Harden and Ivica Zubac, they just looked a little tired in this game for me. And that was part of the reason why we lost. And, of course, this is a really good Cleveland Cavaliers team. A really good Cleveland Cavaliers team. And we were good enough to beat this team, but this was their 60th win. That's the first time this franchise has had 60 wins besides having LeBron James on their team or without LeBron James on their team. This is a historically good Cleveland Cavaliers team. 32-5 record at home. Without Kawhi Leonard, a win here was always going to be a little far-fetched. In my opinion, we didn't even play well. We didn't even play well. We just shot 39% from three, which, by the way, going into this game, we were first in three-point percentage over the last 8 games. That was something that the lovely Christina Pink said at the start of the telecast. So we shot the ball pretty well from deep, but I don't think we did a lot of the little things well that we normally do. I mean, of course, we're not a bad defensive team by any means. We're a good defensive team, but Zoo, at times, he just was slow to react around the basket. He didn't look like he was seeing the doubles as quickly as he usually does, seeing the open man the same way he normally does. And, of course, maybe that's just the Cavs' defense. Maybe I'm just not giving them enough credit. But I saw it in L.A., and I think there's a level of, if you're looking at it from a Cavs fan's perspective, yeah, our defense was better. We knew what to do this time. But, I mean, come on. As a Clipper fan, also, we have our side of it. And Zoo and Harden, they looked a little off the mark today. Harden's defense was no good. He was – especially in transition, but I don't think anybody's defense in transition was good. I thought our transition defense as a whole was poor. So a lot of it was like the effort things that we normally do a really good job of. That's why I was so surprised that we were even in this game. I never felt like this was a game that we could actually win, even when I was watching it. And we were down by as many as 19 points? I think it was 17 points. No, 18. And we were down by a lot of, double digits for a lot of the game. So 122 to 127 being the final score. My overall takeaway is there's a lot of positives to take in the sense that we only lost by 5 to a Cavs team who shot 50.5% from the field, but they didn't even end up shooting well from three. They actually made 6 threes in the first quarter, and then they only made 9 the rest of the game. So that's part of why we were able to stay in the game as well. They were 15 for 45 from three, but they ended up shooting well from the field overall, 50.5%. But we only lost by 5 points without Kawhi in Cleveland. And I didn't even think we played well. I don't even think Zubac played that well. He had 14 and 13. I mean, he's sleepwalking at double-doubles, but 7 for 14 from the field, His stat line honestly doesn't reflect it. I just thought his defensive impact was not the same as normal. He was just slow to react, not contesting shots, which, again, he has a habit of doing that with guys that step outside the arc or further away from the basket, of not even wanting to contest, just getting in position to rebound. But, I mean, it's a little lazy when guys are making shots. But, when you look at the stat line, 14 and 13 on 50% shooting is not bad, but it's about eye test, honestly. His defense was not – he was just caught flat-footed a lot. He still had 2 blocks. James Harden, 24 points, 8 rebounds, 8 assists. I mean, that sounds fantastic, but he had 5 turnovers. He was 7 for 18 from the field. He shot a lot of threes. I'm telling you, he was not getting in the paint like that, but also that was made harder because of the lack of spacing, which I will talk about in a second. But 7 for 18 from the field, 4 for 12 from 3. It was just a lot of quicker threes to me. And just when I see James Harden solely shooting the step back 3 for a lot of the game, sometimes it's more than just spacing. I mean, James finds a way, even without the spacing at times, to get to the line and do those things. In this game, he was 6 for 6 from the foul line, but 6 free throw attempts? That's not really like James. You usually see what he's averaging on that this year. James Harden is averaging 7 free throw attempts a game. It seems like 7 or more, at least in the games that he's really scoring. So, it didn't feel like that kind of game. And then the 5 turnovers, I mean, that's a lot. So then we got to talk about the spacing. The spacing, Chris Dunn, when we want to use Zoo as the screener in pick and rolls, of course, Chris Dunn's going to be in the corner shooting those corner threes. But Evan Mobley, the matchups in this game to start the game were Max Strus on Harden, Jared Allen on Zoo, Donovan Mitchell on Derrick Jones Jr., Evan Mobley on Chris Dunn, and Darius Garland on Norman Powell. And then our side, Derrick Jones on Darius Garland, Chris Dunn on Donovan Mitchell, Zubats on Jared Allen, and Norman Powell on Max Strus, and then Harden on Evan Mobley. Now, here's the thing. Their strategy is we have Evan Mobley guarding Chris Dunn. He's just going to sit in the paint and wait to rotate. You know what I'm saying? And we're going to let Chris Dunn shoot his wide open threes. If James Harden's driving and Chris Dunn is on the strong side, we're going to absolutely wall that off and force him to kick it out to Chris Dunn for 3. They were doing that. And, I mean, he was 3 for 8 from 3. So it wasn't too terrible, but it's just, he's got to take that shot with confidence. They're sitting on Harden and Zoo's spots, and they're not afraid to double off of him at all. But the thing is, for me, it's not just Chris Dunn. It's that we have a lot of non-spacers, if we're being honest. Amir Coffey had knee soreness and had to leave the game. So I hope he's all good to go, because for all the criticism and somewhat unfair criticism that he receives, he's having a career year. He helps us shooting the ball. Like, he really does. So, I hope he's, going to get well soon, and it's nothing too serious. But when you look at Ben Simmons, and then you look at Chris Dunn, and then you look at Zoo, and then teams don't really respect Derrick Jones Jr. from 3. I mean, he's shooting well this season, but he's not, a sniper by any means. He's not necessarily a good three-point shooter. He's 36.5% on the year. Teams are going to take that instead of James Harden or if it's a Zubats getting in the lane. So they were letting them shoot. And it's Ty's job and the coaching staff's job to figure out ways that we have lineups with some good spacing, or they just got to knock down shots. It's that simple. Chris Dunn, I'm not going to, get too mad at the decisions, because I just think Chris Dunn does so much for us defensively. At times, he's probably a little too pro Chris when he should be pro DJ, but he made that switch when Chris wasn't making threes in the 4th. So let's talk about the sequence of the game. Of course, both bigs in drop coverage, Zubats and Jared Allen. I thought 2 things that we, in the first quarter that hurt us were us turning the ball over and the second chance points we were allowing. The second chance points, honestly, were a thing that bothered me throughout the game, things that really hurt us. And, I mean, in the first quarter, the Cavs were raining threes in transition, and we had very stagnant offense. At one point, Bogdanović tried to ISO Evan Mobley twice without 1 pass on the possession. I was like, what? So, yeah, Harden had 8 points in the first quarter, but it was, 8 shots to get it. So it was not the normal domination from Harden in the first quarter. But we were down after one, 37-25. And then in the second quarter, Ben Simmons started out with 2 straight buckets. Ben and Zoo shared the court together. Honestly, it wasn't too bad, but I don't know. I don't know how big of a fan of it I am. But Norman Powell, that when I talked about there's a positive take from this game, the positive is that Norman Powell played his best game since returning from injury. I mean, he was getting to it one-on-one, getting in the lane, making floaters. But there were some really tough shots he took and very tough shots he made. And I'm not talking about the normal tough shots he was making before injury, because if anything, he actually was shooting a lot of open threes, prior to injury. And I don't think he was actually shooting too many of those this game. It was a lot of tougher shots, but he was great. He looked like Norman Powell. And that's an amazing positive. Now, again, that doesn't mean that when everybody's back, it's seamless. You know what I'm saying? We started to see, and I'll talk about it in a second, these last 2 games in New York, it's looking better. It's starting to look pretty seamless. But, it's all about that balance between Norm and Kawhi that we just haven't quite found over even a 5-game stretch this season together. But that second quarter, we outscored them 39-31. Norm had 4 threes in the first half. We went small to end the half with a lineup of Nicholas Batum, Derrick Jones Jr., Chris Dunn, James Harden, and Norman Powell, which is pretty small. You're essentially going with Nico at center there and Derrick Jones Jr. at the 4, and you're trusting all those guys to be able to guard. Norm had 24 points in the first half. I mean, it was a show for him. 10 in the second. So they did a better job on it in the second. They were just better defensively in the second. Derrick Jones Jr. also felt he was all over the place in that second quarter, getting out and running, jumping all over the place, throwing his body around. Great hustle from him. And Norm was really trying to pick on Darius Garland in that pick and roll, because they're going to switch 1 through 4. Darius Garland, definitely the weak link, and you're going to see that from teams in the playoffs. Whoever plays the Cavs, they're going to try to put Darius Garland in the action. But I thought it was very similar to the first Cavs game in terms of like how the flow of the game felt at halftime. We were down by as many as 17, but we outscored them by 8 in the second. So we were down 68-64 going into that third quarter. And Chris Dunn, he had 5 straight points from the corner actually in that first half of that third quarter. But Harden's defense was no good. Zoo looked a step slow on D. It was just a big stretch in that third quarter where we were lazy getting back in transition and just not doing the little things, not boxing out, not rebounding, no effort on the glass. And it just looked like we were, I don't know. I don't think the scoreline of the final score tells the story of this game. I just don't think it was a good performance by us, really. But I'm not too mad at it. If we save our energy for tomorrow and get a win there, that would be amazing. I mean, we'll take 2-2 on the road trip, but I really want 3-1. I mean, we don't want to be in that play-in, especially not as an 8th seed. We really don't want to be. But Bogey was making some tough shots, was kind of keeping us afloat. Donovan Mitchell had a nice buzzer beater at the end, or shot towards the end of that third quarter. They outscored us 37-24 in the third. So they had 2 quarters scoring 37 points. Of course, this is the number 1 offense in the league this season, the Cleveland Cavaliers, and the second team that reached 60 wins besides the Thunder. I mean, what a finals that would be. 2 small market teams. I'd fully endorse it. I'd absolutely love it. But that would be a nightmare for the ratings in the NBA. I think it would be great, but we'll see. I just don't know if that's going to happen. I'm thinking Thunder, Celtics, but we'll see. Now, fourth quarter, we outscored them 34-22. We made a push, and it was Norman Powell led. It was. But our transition defense just was not good, and Chris Dunn was not shooting well. Derrick Jones Jr. immediately hit a shot when Chris Dunn came in, but when you look at the minutes, Derrick Jones Jr. played 30. Chris Dunn played 29. The plus-minus doesn't fully tell the story, but it was hard for Zoo and Zoo and Harden, just given the spacing. I think they could have been better too, but it's collective. Ty Lue, I think the coaching staff, I don't know what they're going to do in the playoffs, but Nicholas Batum is a better basketball player than some of these guys I honestly think, I don't know about Derrick Jones Jr. I think Derrick Jones Jr. is better than Nicholas Batum, but I still think Batum is better at basketball than Chris Dunn. And he does offer something that the other two don't have, and that's really consistent three-point shooting. He's not really going to put it on the deck like that, though, but he can really pass. He's got such a high basketball IQ, and he's a fantastic defender, whether in help or on ball. So we're just going to have to play him a little bit more. So let's look at the minutes, right, for the game, or the box score, the lines. So we lose it 127-122, dropped to 42-32. I thought we were going to lose this game before we even came on this trip, so it's not a big deal to me. The fact that we even made it close and we played badly, in my opinion, I think that's a great sign, honestly. 60-15, the Cavs are on the season with this win, 127-122. For them, they went 10 deep. Javonte Green played 5 minutes. Who cares? Isaac Okoro, he has not been playing as much because they got guys like Dean Wade and Max Strus, and they're able to. I don't know though. Is their point of attack defense good enough to win a championship? They have the likes of Evan Mobley and Jared Allen who are awesome, but are Donovan Mitchell and Darius Garland and Max Strus good enough on the perimeter? I don't know. Isaac Okoro is a great defender. He shot, man. Isaac Okoro, will be interested to see how many minutes he gets. DeAndre Hunter's definitely helped in that regard. But let's go with Isaac Okoro, 11 minutes, and he was very efficient. Plus minus doesn't reflect it, but 11 points on 4 of 5 shooting and 3 for 4 from 3. So, damn, he was hitting. Then you had Dean Wade, who had 5 points, 2 rebounds, 1 assist, 1 steal on 2 for 6 shooting and 1 for 5 from 3. Of course, Dean Wade having an absolute career year, 6'9", 5th season from Kansas. He is averaging a career high in minutes, 21 a game. He is not shooting a career high in any category. So maybe it's not a career year, but he's having a big role on a historically great Cavs team, so maybe it is. I mean, defensively, he's a big body. So if you're a Cavs fan or you've watched the Cavs more than me, let me know. Do you think Dean Wade's having the best season of his career? I would probably think so. But anyway, then you've got DeAndre Hunter, who's come over in that trade for Karis LeVert. He had 10 points, a rebound, 3 assists, 1 steal, and a turnover on 4 for 9 shooting and 2 for 6 from 3 in 21 minutes. And then their starters. So they got, 21, 26, 32, 34 points off their bench. For their starters, Max Strus had 3 points, 3 rebounds, 6 assists, 3 turnovers on 1 for 4 shooting, 0 for 3 from deep, and 1 for 2 from the foul line. So he didn't really shoot well at all. And then the big 4, Jared Allen, what a game he had. He definitely, outplayed Zoo this time. I'll give it to him. So maybe I got to slow down if Zoo's better than Jared Allen. It's just hard because I watch Zoo every night. I value Zoo's skill set a little bit more with his jump hooks and his post game. So I'm going to have to go with Zoo, but I'm biased, obviously. 25 and 12 for Jared Allen, 3 assists, 2 steals, no turnovers on 11 for 12 shooting, 3 for 6 from the foul line, though, in 31 minutes. He was probably their player of the game, I would think. Darius Garland had 19 points, 4 rebounds, 7 assists, 1 turnover. I mean, he's a fantastic passer, fantastic pick and roll player. Didn't shoot well, though. 5 for 14 from the field, 2 for 5 from 3, 7 for 8 from the foul line. And then you have Evan Mobley, 22 points, 7 rebounds, 4 assists, 3 blocks, 3 turnovers on 8 for 16 shooting, 3 for 6 from 3, and 3 for 3 from the foul line. So 50, 50, 100 splits for the USC Trojan. I mean, Evan, I'm really proud and happy for him. The fact that he's added the 3 ball and he just continues to progress every year. So that's the only time I've seen USC get to the Elite Eight in men's was Evan Mobley in 2021. So I'm really appreciative of that. Again, for those that don't know, my dad and my sister went to both UCLA and USC. So that's an interesting thing for me. I obviously appreciate both. I know something that's sacrilegious. UMass over everything, if I had to choose, of course, but I'd say I lean USC a little bit just because I saw my dad graduate from there. So Evan Mobley, one of my favorites. That USC-UCLA potential matchup, though, in women's Final Four would be insane. Insane. I mean, I would root for UCLA or USC no matter what in the championship. But, I mean, I've been covering I don't want to say covering like I've been fully covering them. I was supposed to potentially write for the Sporting Tribune before the season started for USC women's basketball because I'm really into it. The women of Troy. As I said, I'm USC first probably besides UMass. When it comes to sports, obviously I don't follow UMass sports like that. But if we're hypothetically ever in the NCAA tournament, hell no. Not rooting for USC or UCLA over UMass. But I was going to say, and by the way, get well soon, Juju. But it would be awesome. I was going to cover them and write for them, USC women's basketball. So, unfortunately, with everything that's happening, I have not had time. But, USC UConn rematch after last year, that Paige Beckers, Juju Watkins battle that they won. Come on now. Fight on. Got to get to that. That Final Four against UCLA would be electric. Electric. It'd be amazing. And we haven't seen a USC or UCLA team make a national championship in basketball since I think Farmar's 06 team. So, I mean, this would be huge. So we cannot have UConn get in there. We cannot. But anyway, all right. Now for the Clippers. No, I didn't say Donovan Mitchell. 24 points, 12 rebounds, 7 assists, 4 steals, 2 turnovers on 9 for 19 shooting. Did not shoot well from 3, though. 2 for 9 from deep. 4 for 4 from the foul line. Donovan Mitchell continues to be one of the best players in the NBA season after season. So we played a 9-man rotation, no backup center. Obviously, no Kawhi. Amir Coffey only played 4 minutes, had that knee soreness. Didn't look like there was an apparent, I didn't see anything that happened. But I just saw him on the floor, stretching. He had 1 point, 1 rebound in 4 minutes. Didn't get a shot up. 1 for 2 from the foul line. Nico Batum played 16 minutes, 1 point, 3 rebounds, 1 assist, 1 turnover on 0 for 2 shooting, and both those shots were threes. 1 for 2 from the foul line. I mean, yeah, we could definitely use more Nico minutes, but again, 10 more games left. In the playoffs, we got to be playing him 30 minutes some games if that is needed. I think we will, though. Ben Simmons, 20 minutes. He had 4 points, 6 rebounds, 5 assists, 1 steal on 2 for 3 shooting. I like what Ben Simmons does. I just think that he adds a level of we need to be mindful of what lineups we put him in spacing-wise. But I think he was solid. Bogey, the ultimate test. We play well when today was not an example. These last 2 games or so have not been examples of my theory with Bogey. So I think that theory is squashed. But I do think it really helps when he does play well. He had 16 points, 4 rebounds, 3 assists, 2 steals, just 1 turnover on 6 for 11 shooting, 2 for 4 from 3, and 2 for 2 from the foul line. Yeah, so Bogey, he shot pretty well. Then our starters, Chris Dunn, 29 minutes, 13 points, 5 rebounds, 1 steal on 5 for 13 shooting, and 3 for 8 from 3. Yeah, he was adding some problems spacing-wise, and I think the coaching staff saw it and took him out, maybe a little too late, but maybe we could use him as a screener a little bit more just to get him in the short roll situations. But at the same time, I think Christian needs to keep letting it fly and be confident with it. 3 for 8 is not the end of the world. He still does a lot of great things for us out there. I think with Kawhi back, he mitigates all these things, all these problems. Derrick Jones Jr., 15 points, 3 rebounds, 2 assists, 1 steal, 1 block. Did have 2 turnovers, though. But he was 5 for 8 from the field, 2 for 4 from 3, and 3 for 4 from the foul line. I mean, he continues to be great. We got to just lean into Derrick a little more. I think he should be the non-negotiable starter every game in the playoffs with Kawhi, Harden, Norm, and Zoo. Then we bring Chris Dunn. Actually, I don't know, Chris Dunn and Ben Simmons. But here's the thing. We just got to have them together in a small ball lineup. Chris Dunn and Ben Simmons go all defense. Have Nico out there. Maybe still have one of Kawhi and Norm out there. Got to mix it up. Bogey's definitely got to be out there. But anyway, we can talk about that in a Locked On episode. Zoo, 14 and 13. Already talked about him, 7 for 14. Thought he could have been much better, but it is what it is. I'm not going to be too harsh on him with the season he's had. Harden, 24 and 8 and 8. He wasn't very good in my opinion, even though that stat line sounds fantastic. Then Norm, he was great. 34 points, 1 rebound, 4 assists, 1 steal, 1 turnover on 13 for 24 shooting, 5 for 11 from 3. But he did not show up on the free throw line. 3 for 6. I mean, that could have helped us late in the game, maybe, but it's okay. We're back again tomorrow against Orlando. But I wanted to talk about the games against New York teams. The Knicks game was a great one. I thought in the first half, we weren't even that great. But our defense, because they didn't have Jalen Brunson. So I thought we could have been winning by more. But as we went on, Kawhi, I mean, he was just ridiculous. OG, Mikal Bridges, these good defenders. I mean, in OG's case, one of the best in the league. All they could do is hope he missed. I mean, it was bucket after just getting into the mid-range, getting into his spots. And when he's dunking like that, trying to reverse dunk like he tried to do against the Knicks, I mean, that's when you know he's on a different kind of time. It's crazy. Different kind of time. They had campaign starting, and I mean, he was causing some problems in the beginning. We were down 11-2 to start the game, and I thought their Knicks ball movement was actually really good without Brunson, just because you don't have that level of like give it to one guy and let him cook. But it was an interesting substitution that we did that game is when we went away from Zoo at the 6-minute mark of the first quarter instead of like later in that first quarter, so they can have Harden without him in small ball and the small ball units, because I feel like it got really stagnant against OKC, and Kawhi and Harden, Norm couldn't initiate offense. So they had Harden try to play in the small ball lineups because it's like heavy isolation and matchup hunting, and he's great at that. And of course, you can initiate the offense. But we went back to playing Zoo for the majority of that first quarter in the last 2 games. But we started getting some stops and scoring late in the first quarter against New York. It wasn't a great quarter from Harden, but we ended up outscoring them 31-25 in it. And we didn't even play well in the first half, but we went in to the half. Oh, wait, I'm looking at the wrong box score. I was looking at the wrong box score on that one, but I was reading my right notes. That was the game in LA. Let's see, what were we down in the first? Yeah, we were down by 13 points at the end of the first quarter. They were raining on us. And then we outscored them 34-22 in the second quarter to give us some life. We were down 1 in the third, and then we turned up offensively in the second half, like 72 points in the second half. And it was a great adjustment by the coaching staff. Ty Lue, let's give him some fucking credit. As Phil Jackson said, give him some fucking credit. Sending doubles at Karl Anthony Towns. And then we had Chris Dunn and Derrick Jones Jr. when they were out there, or Kawhi, just take away that first pass. That one pass away guy, that first rotation, we were taking that away, forcing Cat to make a long pass or just not try to attempt to make that pass. So it was slowing him down because we started to figure out, like, look, no Jalen Brunson, Mikal Bridges, OG, these aren't elite shot creators against a good defense. So Karl Anthony Towns, he's going to be the one that has to create shots. So we kind of took him out, and then Kawhi just got to his, bag. It was ridiculous. He's back. He is, when he's making defenders like Evan Mobley and OG Anunoby look like that, he is back. And that's when I'm like just loving it. And then Harden heater at the end of the third, 16 third quarter points, 3 straight threes. It was fantastic. And then Kawhi, Zoo dominating, in the MSG broadcast of the great Mike Breen and Clyde Frazier were giving him all sorts of love. It had me even getting excited. And you know how level-headed I've been and even keel in terms of wins I've been since we got Harden. It's insane. 126-113 was the final in that one. Kawhi played 41 minutes and had 27 points. And you know what? And also an indicator of like how good he feels right now is his activity on the glass. He's getting those 10 rebound games, and he's getting offensive boards. He's getting defensive boards. Defensively, he's looking better. It's crazy that he's reaching this form at this time of the season. It has never happened for us because he's always been on a different timeline in these recoveries from injuries. But my God, I get reminded why I was so excited when we got this guy, and like why it's been such a tough experience being a Clipper fan in the Kawhi, why the Kawhi experience has been so tough, even for a Clipper fan who's been through so much as a fan, depending on how long you've been a fan. And it's because he's that good when he's healthy. You know what I mean? And you get reminded of that when he's there. And it's like the first thing I thought of when we got him was, oh my God, those amazing playoff memories I had with Lob City, with the crowd and like the sea of red. I'm going to be able to have those with a guy that's like a level above CP3 in his prime. That 1A on a championship team guy that makes shots that you see the likes of Kobe and Michael Jordan hit consistently throughout their careers and stuff like that. And we just have never been able, as crazy to say it, like it wasn't until last year we ever saw Kawhi play in front of a sold-out Clipper playoff crowd. And he wasn't the full version of Kawhi that everybody knows. So we've never really seen that version of Kawhi play a home game in front of Clipper fans in the playoffs. And it's like insane. So I'm hoping, and everybody's hoping, that maybe the Intuit Dome is this new building with a new, glow to it, that there's some positive energy in there that we can, use to further wash away the stain of Sterling and have something good luck-wise. And I'm not saying win a championship, but having Kawhi be healthy for the playoffs and into it, like whatever round we go out, I think that's all Clipper fans really want to see. Because when you see a guy playing like that, you had 18-10 from Zoo, 27-10-7 from Kawhi, 29, 6 and 6 from James, 19 from Norm. I mean, that's the balance we want right there. That's the balance. Then 12 from Derrick Jones Jr. off the bench. So we were fantastic in that one. And then we have the Nets game. The Nets game was literally just all about Kawhi. He was going crazy. And this is when I even start to get excited. But I have to, temper my expectations because every time I do this, I get really excited and then we always get let down. So you know how it goes. I have to be very cautiously, pessimistic in a way with this kind of stuff. But he was hitting shots in the first half and I was like, oh my fucking God. I had to go on Twitter and had to just start recording myself reacting, going crazy. I mean, it was ridiculous. Just jab, step, pull, three, do it in his face. I mean, trying to dunk every chance he got. It was insane. Like, guys, we're getting to that point. We're getting to that point. But I just got to be relaxed. Because, oh my God, he is so good. Like, we've never had a player better than this. But it doesn't, like, I swear, and I'm going to get some hate for this, but it's like only Kawhi stands that will give me hate for it. Clipper fans will be like, that's reasonable, but I disagree. He's not even a better Clipper than Paul George to me until he gives me a real memory at home and on the road the way Paul George did in 2021. I'm sorry. That sentimental shit matters. And if we're talking about, like, actual, like, production, like, I'm pretty sure if you go to total games, probably at this point Kawhi's caught up with this season, but maybe he's caught up. In playoff games, Paul George has played a lot more than him, I think. Or, I don't know. Actually, I'd have to think about that. But it's all about 2021 with Paul George, honestly. And then I guess that season, 2022, was a very positive, like, vibe season. And Paul George, even though he missed 51 games, that 31 that he was there after 2021 and what he'd done, he got a lot of love that year. So this will be a great opportunity if Kawhi can do this. I mean, the game was over at halftime, 132-100. Is there anything even I need to say? In the beginning of the game, the shots weren't falling outside of Zoo, and the Nets were making some random bullshit threes. By the way, former Clipper Keon Johnson starting for them. We went back to the old minutes with Zoo. Like, Zoo came out at he stayed into like the 2-minute mark of the first quarter. We went small ball with JH, but also small ball with Kawhi and them. No Norm or Harden, though. There was one lineup we went small with. The fans are booing Ben Simmons in his return. That was pretty funny. And we had 3 Nico threes. I mean, Nico, 19 minutes in that one, 9 points, 4 rebounds on 3 for 4 shooting and all his shots for threes. The man is he's just so great. And I was right, I'm reading my notes right now. Kawhi looking sharp physically again, dunked, moving with pace. When he's getting into his bag with his handle, it's like, that he's feeling some kind of way. It's his body language. It tells a story. But there was one possession, and it ended up my man Jay from London, Kawhi fan, posted it on Twitter and I might have had 1 million views at this point, but I described a sequence where Kawhi stole the ball and helped, like, from behind, and then he controlled the ball by going behind his back. And the reason why Kawhi's handle is so tight, I mean, he's obviously put in so much work. His handle improvement from when he first entered the league to now is like one of the craziest handle improvements I've ever seen from a player, like draft, like rookie year to like what he became in his prime. But what also helps him is his hands, like how big his hands are. It's really hard to steal the ball from guys like that. Michael Jordan, Doc, those kind of guys. I mean, and it's funny when I saw this whole thing about LeBron saying Giannis in the 70s. By the way, Giannis's response to that was incredible. Again, I'm very disappointed in LeBron. The comments he's made, he's always been pretty respectful about the past. And again, everybody always says, but the other guys need to be respectful to now. I agree, but I think some things are taken out of context, or people really interpret it the wrong way when it comes to what guys are saying about now. I do agree there's some, like Shaq not knowing that Chauncey Billups was the coach of the Pistons, like, and then doubling down on it saying, I don't watch Detroit. Like, that's not great. That's not a great look for the league. I agree with that kind of stuff. But a lot of stuff is people are very sensitive now, in my opinion. And my generation is even more sensitive than the last. I think we're just always getting more sensitive. And tough love is like becoming very, very looked down upon, and you need that. It's like I can't lie. Like being in the, especially in like the verse of in the world of AAU, I'm like, you're afraid sometimes to be a real coach because you don't want to piss a parent off, and they leave and their kid leaves. But that's why that. But I'm also talking as a guy that's just beginning in less than a year into this like AAU experience, being a part of a club team. But like once you get to a point where like In the NBA, the stars have this kind of power, is what I'm relating it to. Is when you're afraid of what a player can do, like leave your program or leave your team or request a trade or whatever it is, sometimes you're afraid to be a real coach or critique them honestly. And the people like the analysts on TV, their job is to critique. Of course, they're going to say ridiculous things and they should do their jobs better. I completely agree. And I don't think NBA media is in a good state. It's in the most dog shit state ever. It's in the most dog shit state ever. It's just comparing. It's literally like politics now. It's like Republican and Democrat comparing. What would this guy do now? Why were they so bad then? Why is everybody so good now? Why does everybody hate the threes now? It's like, dude, how many people are actually putting in the work? Like, I admit that like I can't even accurately compare. Like even LeBron, I don't like even uttering that argument. It's like not respectful in my opinion. And it's also very stupid because it leaves out all the players that are in the discussion for me to be the greatest of all time. I mean, I've heard people say that Wilt's the GOAT. I've heard people say that Russell's the GOAT. I've heard people say LeBron, Jordan, Kobe. I love Kobe. The reason I say it like that is just because I think Kobe could be as high as the second best player of all time. I just think Jordan is better than him. Kobe could be more skilled than him though. Again, that's honestly not a conversation that I'm going to admit right here. That is not a conversation that I can speak on because I watched Kobe. I didn't watch Jordan like that yet. I have to watch hundreds of games. I'd say compared to the sample size I have with Kobe, I got to watch at least 100 Jordan games and some full series to even come close to being accurate in my comparison with who has more skill between Kobe and Mike. Looking at a couple of highlight tapes and saying, oh, well, people are more skilled now, that's not an accurate description. And you know what the explanation that people always give me is, and listen, I'm talking as a Kobe guy. I don't have an attachment to Jordan like that, but I have a lot of respect for him. Because now that my mind has matured and I see things differently from a different lens, basketball-wise, I can see the greatness in what he did. But not just his accomplishments, like what he actually did on the court, what he was doing. But Kobe, my thing with Kobe is his left hand was so good. I don't know if Jordan's left hand was that good compared to Kobe's. His handle looked better. But again, you have to remember when Michael Jordan entered the league, you were dribbling still closer to like this, hand over the ball. That we had no Iverson and anything like that. So if you look at Jordan's final shot with the Bulls, that snatch back against Byron Russell, he carries the ball for what was in the 80s. No one in the 80s is crossing back like that, snatching back like that. You couldn't do it. It was illegal. They would have been called a carry most likely. That just wasn't taught. That wasn't a thing. So if you look at Michael Jordan, yes, his handle got better, obviously, throughout his course of his career. That's a thing. But it's also what was allowed. 98 was very different than 84. And you can see it's not a coincidence that everybody in the league dribbles like that. Even Isaiah Thomas, when you look at his handle, he's not snatching back like that. At least not that I've seen. It's all in Isaiah Thomas, heard him talking about it one time. I know we deviated from the Kawhi thing, but I was basically done talking about that. But I'll get back to it at the end. But this is education, motherfuckers. And I got to learn too. But Isaiah talked about keeping his handle inside the box, which is like, and he said Iverson broke the box, which means he was bringing his crossovers out here. A lot of that's and one too, and one in the late 90s. So the evolution of dribbling is something that I want to make a documentary on when I'm older and have the funds and the resources and the connections, because it's something that really needs to be discussed when we compare eras. Because like, otherwise, you're just seeing these guys dribble like that, and you think they're terrible. Like that's what everybody sees, and no one explains anything. And nobody wants to believe. Certain people don't want to believe things. The stands don't want to believe that players in the past were good. LeBron stands, mainly. So LeBron's stupid to that level. I haven't discussed it at length in this show, but this is my first live since, or is it my first live since? I heard about it that day. Yeah, I was insane. He's always been pretty respectful of the greats. And some of the counters would say, well, have the greats been very respectful of him? I mean, who are you saying? What has Jordan done to disrespect LeBron? What did Kobe do to disrespect LeBron? Kareem? Okay. Kareem criticized LeBron's big ball celebration. He was probably wrong for that because Kobe did it. I don't know if he said anything about it then. But, like, are we really going to talk about that? Like, that's what we're going with? Kareem's a hater because of that? Oscar Robertson praises LeBron all the time. Jerry West spoke very highly of him. Who else is there? Has Akeem trash talked him? No. Who else is there? Wilt didn't even get to see him play, unfortunately. Bill Russell spoke poorly of LeBron James? Like when? Has Steph Curry spoken poorly about him? Kevin Durant? Kevin Garnett? Paul Pierce used to, but Paul Pierce and him were adversaries. Like, come on, like give it a rest. Like, of course, Pierce feels a little bitterness. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, this is part of this shit. I don't know. He's a small forward. You have to guard him all the time. Anyway, Dr. J did say he flopped teams. I remember that. Was he wrong, though? That's the thing. Was he wrong? Because everyone's like, well, Moses Malone came to the Sixers. Yeah, the Sixers, his empire. You know what I'm saying? It's different. Why don't people not understand the difference? No one's saying Doc's better than LeBron, by the way. Like, people aren't, that's not a popular take in modern society. So, like, what's the problem? That's hating? Does Shaq hate on LeBron? People saying Charles Barkley hates on LeBron. No, I actually disagree with that massively. I think Chuck keeps it very honest. He hates on the Lakers and the Warriors. That's a difference. And LeBron happens to be on them now. But before LeBron was on the Lakers, he did not hate just because he thinks Kobe's better. That's not hate. People are just, LeBron fans are just fucking sensitive, dog. Anyway, Kawhi Leonard. I mean, it's amazing the way he's trending. It's just like, it just comes down to this. Norman Powell and Kawhi, they're starting to look better together. Like with the Clippers are starting to look better with them all on the floor. The last two New York games, there was a better balance there. Let's see, Norm in this game, he didn't shoot well, but he was 11 points, 3 for 9. Harden, 17 points. It was Kawhi, 31 points on 10 for 14 shooting and 5 for 6 from 3. Frank, he had 4 steals and 2 blocks. I mean, Frank Isola at halftime, I was watching on the Yes Network. He was like, Kawhi Leonard is so good. On both ends of the floor, he dominates. Like, I mean, come on, man. Like, when he's playing like this, I said it, and everybody got locked on comment section, got sensitive. Harden fans, they were acting like I was trying to divide the team. I was saying, we're not going anywhere unless Kawhi's our best player, in my opinion. Not Harden. That's not an insult to Harden. I just know Kawhi is like that when he's like this. It's a different level. Kawhi Leonard. So overall, guys, 10 games left. Here's how I feel. We're trending in the right direction, but these 10 games matter. These 10 games matter. Not just because of the plan, but because we want to find the best version of the Big Four all playing together. We need to figure out who it's going to be. Derek Jones Jr., Chris Dunn. Who are we going to lean into in crunch time? I know it's kind of situation-based, but I think we've seen enough evidence at this point. Last 5 minutes, I'm rather going with Derek or Nico over Chris Dunn. It's my opinion. Let me know if you agree in the comment section. But yeah, I think it's amazing seeing Kawhi trend like this. Tomorrow's game against Orlando's big. I'll try to go live after, but there'll be a Locked On episode as well on Monday. And yeah, I mean, it's looking good, guys. I'm just not trying to get too excited, but it's looking really good. Like, I would not want to see us with Kawhi trending like this. I would not. But anyway, all right, now to the live subscribers waiting patiently in the chat. Super chats are turned on if you want to drop $1 or a dime. Laker fans, I have not gotten to watching your guys' games, but I still plan on it. And this week, I'll put a lot of work into that. I'll talk about them soon. Clipper Nation, thank you for supporting. Dime Jumper fam, thank you for supporting. Now to the live subscribers waiting patiently in the chat. All right, y'all. Let's see how many we got. 37, about 40 so today. What's up, Bones got busy? Let me write down your name. What's up, Dump Ring? Michael Ta. Are you on Twitter, Michael Ta? Clippers in 7 against OKC. Damn, this makes your guys' logos look so much bigger. Do you like this better? Or do you like the bubbles? Zhu Hao Cho. I like this guy. You're always asking about episodes. Where are you from, Zhu Hao Cho? Without Kawhi, it's a downgrade on both offense and defense. Damn right. BGB says Pistons T-Wolves is insane. A few players got ejected. Oh, damn. I think the scariest OKC matchups are Clippers, Warriors. Both teams have a chance to upset. Kyle's takes, one of our mods. What's going on, Kyle? Says, what's up? Kung Fu Rabbit. Are you on Twitter? Says, I'm so nice Kung Fu Panda logo. I'm so sick of Ty Lue lineup. Which one? You still think Norm is better than Reeves? No, I don't. I agree. I think Reeves is better. Also, I think Zoo has established himself as a top 7 big in the league. Is Giannis a big? We need to stop playing Dunn. Okay, what? That's ridiculous. Ace Boogie says, I saw Law Murray say it's unlikely Coffey's back at the Clippers next year. Damn, really? Why? You think this version of Kawhi is a top 5 player still or top 10? I think top 10, maybe top 5. I have to get a larger sample size for top 5, but definitely top 10. Definitely. Juan Antonio Contreras says, sin Kawhi no hay ganancias. Yeah. Ace Boogie says, respectfully, that is a terrible take. What? Oh, Zoo, what, really? Oh, right now, Austin Reeves not better than Norman Powell? What? Kenneth, are you watching Laker games, dude? AJ says, yup. Paul George is annoying, but he repped LA and got a postseason run in. Yeah, you agree with me? Isn't he number 1 or 2 all-time 3-pointers for us? He's number 1. What's up, June Bug? I love that Ballmer profile. Says, yo, Dime. FD2 says, salute Dime in chat. Kawhi cost y'all this game. What? Because he didn't play? That was a dumb comment. Yeah. Giannis, please come to the Clippers after this season. Both San Antonio, Stephen A. Smith and LeBron's fault. It's like stage. I know. Mike's hands are why he didn't need the skill. Kobe lapped him. Lapped him is crazy. Oh, yeah. What I was going to say about that is people just say, like, Kobe saw what Jordan did and added it. Like, I mean, he might have had to get more creative, but, like, people act like, well, Jordan, like, the competition narrative is really BS to me. Really BS. Because the same defenders that defended Kobe, some of them, like, had fits with old Jordan. So I don't buy that players in the 90s were that much worse than the 2000s, but I haven't watched the tape. And the 2000s is my era. So that's a little BS in my opinion. The hands and how much he got elevation on his shots, Jordan. And I think he was probably taking smarter shots, probably making things a little easier for him than Kobe was. Matters. But I don't know. I have to watch the games. But lapped him is crazy. He can be more skilled than him. I think Kobe Bryant's the most skilled player of all time, but I need to watch more Jordan film. 2021 would have never happened without Kawhi. So I can't agree with your PG over KL take. I think that's fair, but Kenneth, let me ask you this. Like, were you at the games? Because I feel like that's part of my take, right? Is the emotions of being at all the games. And when Kawhi was there, it was amazing to watch. I saw the dunk on Derek Favors or whatever. I watched his amazing Game 7, but it hit different with fans. Our first Western Conference Finals, Paul George was our lone star representative, which I think meant a lot to me. Jordan's left was great. Kobe had to expand because he couldn't get his shot off. Yeah, first step, Jordan probably has the best in the history of the game. What's up, Empire Jeff? Everybody go subscribe to Empire Jeff. He's one of those awesome creators that is a all LA sports guy. So we need those people to be supported way more. So go subscribe to Empire Jeff. Definitely does more Dodgers content than I do. So please go check him out. Go Dodgers, by the way. We're back, the champs. It feels like I have not been able to really appreciate the offseason because everything that's happened with me. I was basking in the glory for 2 months and then boom. Kobe was more skilled at playing hoop and MJ was greater. So you think he was better basketball player? Don't give me that greater stuff. Was he better at basketball to you? That highlight when he switches to his left midair between two players, classic. AI desensitized, yep, the refs and the spectators. People wanted to see that. I'm pretty sure Braun knows the dribble rules like that. I don't think he does, though, fam. What does imply that he's watched 70s full games? Being disrespectful doesn't get you more respect. They all competitive. Many are going to say the era was just the best. Yeah, except I rarely ever hear Charles Barkley outright say that the 90s was the best. I think he just doesn't like the amount of threes now. He was not like that 10 years ago. I don't know why we're trying to use Dunn still. Dude, are you serious? No Chris Dunn at all after how he's played? Do you find Ty Lue's rotations puzzling? Of course, but guys, every single coaching staff's rotations can be puzzling. Every single, my man right here, every single one says that. Okay, ironically. There weren't way worse. So graduate. I don't think so. Like, I just don't. I think the players now are better at certain skills than when I was a kid, but I just don't think they're better. Like, I'm sorry. I just don't. Like, my eye test just doesn't say that because I just don't value shooting the same way everyone does is what it comes down to. I don't think it's a bias against modern players. I just think when you ask me about basketball, I'm not talking about outside shooting as much as other people. And you can say it's like an archaic view, but it's not. Like, I just think little things, I just think things matter more. Like, I don't know. It's a long-winded conversation. I think the superstars in the top of the league guys were better, like when I was a kid. I really do. Like, I just think Kevin Garnett would be so much better now. Like, I just think like a player like that would be so like Steve Nash. Like, imagine Steve Nash being encouraged to shoot 10 threes. Like, did Steve Nash lose because of like he lost? He couldn't like. He's a. All right, I have to leave. I'm going to talk too much. Do you like Ty Lue's 3-guard lineup, Dunn, Harden, Powell? I don't mind it. Why? I like it. Same way Steph wasn't the first one to be able to shoot, but he was the first one. Yeah, I agree. I mean, as a starter, I feel you. We aren't going to win many games against elite teams if Ty continues to play Dunn and Simmons heavy minutes. I feel you, Daniel Figueroa. That could be true. He would, but isn't that because of where the game has gotten? No, just tell him to shoot more threes now. And then Garnett, I mean, he could play as a small ball 5. I mean, it would be so many of his skills would be exaggerated, like, not exaggerated more, shown more. Simmons shouldn't get 20 minutes and Dunn should never play 29. I feel you. Tired of the coach Looselander, to be honest. I feel you on that. Yeah, I think he's a solid coach. What's up, Mike Nakamura? I like that pic. That's a cool picture. Garnett would be awesome. All right, guys. Peace out. Have a great Sunday. I'm going to have a locked on episode for you tomorrow.